everybody. I so want to say it's Travel Planning Tuesday, but it's not. So we're going to say it's Travel Planning Wednesday. Is that a thing? I don't know. We're going to make that a thing. So we are live right now. We are live on Instagram and we're live on Facebook. So we're live in two places at once. This is really cool. I'm really excited about this. So hi, Doug. How are you? And hi, Laura. How are you? Hey, Jeff. Good to see you. Glad you're here to join us tonight. Tonight we're talking about Disney Cruise Line. I love Disney Cruises. Disney Cruises are the best. Doug is actually one of our clients. He's been on like so many Disney Cruises. He's a gold member now. So I love Disney Cruises. I am so excited to talk about Disney Cruises. So excited to share my knowledge about Disney Cruises with all of you out there. And this is going to be so much fun. Basically, I'm going to just riff here. I'm just going to talk about where Disney Cruises go. I'm going to talk about some extra magic and some things that you can do on your Disney cruise. Talk about my favorite Disney Cruises experience. I've been on all 4 Disney cruise ships, and I have all these really cool things to show you too from my Disney cruises, so we're going to do that as well. So lots of really fun things planned. So excited. Make sure, if you guys are joining us, make sure that you comment and let me know if you have a specific question, and I will scroll down and I will read the comments as we go along. And we will go ahead and start talking about comments and stuff. So, Disney Cruises. So, if you've never been on a Disney cruise before, I promise you it is a life-changing experience. If you've been on any other kind of cruises, Disney cruises are completely different. For those of you who were not aware of this, Disney Cruise Line has won more awards than any other cruise line out there, especially for family cruising, but not just family cruising. Disney Cruise Line was named the best private island for Castaway Cay, best family cruise line. The awards, you guys, the reason why they have so many awards is because their level of customer service is completely different than any other cruise ship that you experience. I remember on my very first Disney cruise, and the stateroom host, he knew our names literally before we even got into our room. Like, he was like, which one of you is Brandon and which one of you is Dustin? And I'm like, oh, I'm Brandon. And then like he knew my name for the rest of the cruise ship. It was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to start by talking to you guys about, Laura wants to know about difference in rotational dining, which, yes, that's something that's very unique to Disney Cruise Line. So I will talk about that in a second. First, I just want to talk about, actually, no, we'll go ahead and talk about that now. That's a great question, Laura. We'll talk about that. So why don't we talk about some of the key differences? Because what happens is when people are like, I really want to go to Disney Cruise, they get sticker shock when they see the price. And they're like, why is it more expensive than other cruise lines? Well, it's because you get way more value. It's no different than, I was actually talking to this with a friend the other day, right? So you go to Walmart or you go to Target, and nothing wrong with that. You go to one of those places and you buy a sweater, and it's cheap, it's nice, it's affordable. It's, you know, a $20, $30 sweater. And compare that sweater to a sweater that you buy at like a department store that's like a $50, $60 sweater that's twice as much. The expensive sweater usually feels better on your body, it usually lasts longer, it usually keeps you warmer because it's made of higher quality. So you're still getting a sweater, right? But the one that you get from Walmart is not as high of quality as a sweater that you get from the department store. So Disney Cruise Line is kind of like the same thing, right? You're still getting a cruise, but the level that you're getting of the cruise is the best in the business, which is why it costs more. So there are quite a few differences with Disney Cruise Line compared to other cruise lines that you go on. One of those is rotational dining that Laura just asked about. So the way rotational dining works is when you go on a Disney cruise. Hi, Leslie. I'm glad you're joining us tonight. Yay! Say hi to Carone and Michaela for me, too. So rotational dining, the way it works, Disney Cruise Line has 3 different main dining rooms on all 4 of their cruise ships. 2 of the dining rooms are pretty similar, and then the third, no, actually, excuse me, because that's changing. One of the dining rooms is pretty similar across all the ships, and then the other dining rooms can be a little bit different depending upon the class, because the Magic and the Wonder were built first, and then the Dream and Fantasy were built later. So they're basically 2 different classes of ships. So the Wonder and the Magic are considered sister ships, and the Dream and Fantasy are sister ships. But the way rotational dining works is every cruise ship has 3 main dining rooms. So if you go on another cruise line, they have 1 main dining room, and then they have their upcharge dining rooms that you can go to on the ship. So Disney Cruise Line has 3 completely different themed dining rooms. And the way rotational dining works is every night of your cruise, you go in a different dining room, and your servers actually go with you. So it's amazing, because your first night on your cruise ship, your servers will ask you, okay, like, what do you like to drink? And if you have kids, they'll say, you know, what does your kids like to eat? You know, if you have a picky eater, let's say you have a kid who's a picky eater, and all they really want is like spaghetti or macaroni every single night. So you tell your waiter, and they'll literally have the macaroni or spaghetti ready every single night by the time you sit down. Same thing with like your drinks. Like, you don't even have to ask, because your servers travel along with you, which is so cool. All of the cruise ships have a restaurant called Animator's Palette, which is amazing. It's dedicated to the art of animation, celebrating, of course, 100 and something years of Disney animation. Wait, we're not quite at 100 yet. So a long time of Disney animation, but they have paintings inside the ships, and they're basically their movie screens. So the paintings actually come to life while you're dining. So I love it so much. And on some of the ships, not all the ships, but you can actually do like a painting, and then it comes to life. So hi, Hawaii girl. Thank you for joining on Instagram. So yes, love, 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 love Animator's palette on the Disney cruise ships. I just did an Alaska cruise on the Wonder this last summer in July, and they have Tiana's place, which was so cool. Princess Tiana, it's like her restaurant. They have a live jazz band that plays for you while you're eating dinner, and Princess Tiana makes an appearance, and she says hello, and she actually comes to the tables. And I cannot believe, I can't remember the name of the gator, but the gator is there too, from Princess and the Frog. Al, is that right? Someone can comment and tell me if Al is right. But yeah, so that's really, really fun. And on the Magic, now it's a dinner with Rapunzel. So they kind of did a similar thing with the dining room over there. And then they have King Triton, and the other, King Triton is like the main restaurant. And it's called different things, but it's basically the main restaurant. That is where the marble staircase comes down, and the main atrium open area of the ship. And oh man, the food is so good. So yeah, so rotational dining is a huge difference on Disney cruise ship. Another big major difference on Disney cruises is just the characters and the character interaction. I mean, it's the Disney brand, right? And if you guys haven't seen it already, I'm gonna actually put in the comments a link to a new video that I just posted on our YouTube channel today, and it's all about character interaction. Hi, Alyssa, glad you're joining us from Instagram. But it's about character interaction, and that's one of my absolute favorite things is character interactions. Disney does such a great job of training the characters on how to interact, and a Disney cruise ship is so much fun. Luis, hi Luis. And hey, howdy, hey, joined too. Awesome. So one thing that really sets apart a Disney cruise ship with character interactions than going to Disneyland or the Disney parks is that the characters change their outfits based on what the dress code of the ship is. I do that in quotes because even though it's formal night, you'll see people in jeans and in shorts, and Disney doesn't really care. But the characters will actually dress up for formal night and like their best attire and things of that nature. And for pirate night, the characters are dressed up in their pirate attire. And so I love meeting the characters and getting pictures with them in all their different attire. Actually, I have some pictures to show you. So the photo pass thing is really different with the Disney cruise than for the parks. But here's a picture from Christmas. Isn't that amazing? Goofy is in his sweater. Goofy is my favorite, by the way. So there's that picture. And then I have one of Chip and Dale. So this was a very maritime cruise. And what they always do is they end up superimposing these pictures. Like they go ahead and print them out for you. You can decide if you want to buy them or not. But it's really, really, really fun. I have more. So this one is with Princess Tiana right here. And you can see, I'll go closer, but you can see that they actually, they already put things in there, characters in there. Oh, this was Pirate Night. So Pirate Night is something else that's really unique about Disney Cruises is Pirate Night. And for Pirate Night, there's a pirate deck party. They shoot off fireworks on the pirate deck party. And then there's like a huge buffet and spread. And you can dress up like pirates. So we this year we went all out for pirates. And you can see Dustin is dressed up basically exactly like Smee. So Smee loved it. I did like a Jack Sparrow. I think it was supposed to be the other pirate from Pirates in the Caribbean. And then of course here's one with Mickey, Captain Mickey. So that's really cool. And I told you that they dress up for formal night. So this was formal night. So this is Goofy dressed up in formal night in his formal attire, which is really, really neat. And so I used to be a clown in the circus. So we did a Halloween on the High Seas cruise. So we actually dressed up in clown. So that was really, really fun. And then, oh yeah, I gotta talk about this. Okay, so whenever you go on a Disney cruise, you have your normal cruises that they have, but they also have celebration cruises. So they have Halloween on the High Seas, and they have very maritime cruises. So those cruises have, a lot of the same character interactions and things of that nature, but they also have special events. So for a very maritime cruise, they have special holiday shows. They have, of course, the ships are all decorated for whatever holiday it is, Christmas or Halloween. For Christmas, they have a huge Christmas tree, and Mrs. Claus will tell stories in front of the Christmas tree. You can get pictures with Mr. Claus. And they have gingerbread decorating that you can do. And my gingerbread house completely fell apart, which was really embarrassing. Like all of my walls just completely collapsed. But for Halloween on the High Seas, they have the costume party. They still have the pirate party, but they have what's called a live scream where you actually get to meet Jack and Sally. So they have like a midnight screening, and you get to meet Jack and Sally after the screening. It's so cool because in the Walt Disney Theater, which is another reason why a Disney cruise ship is more expensive. So they have live Disney Broadway style shows. All the cruise ships have 3 Disney style Broadway shows that will play during your cruise. If your cruise is longer than 3 nights, then there's additional entertainment that they have there. But for the Scream and Screen, they play The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's 4D. So they have fake snow that falls on you, fog billows out, they have special lighting effects. And then at the very end, when Jack and Sally are, kissing at the very end of the movie, Jack and Sally actually rise up onto the stage, and then afterwards they walk out and you get a picture with them. So it's so cool. It's so fun. So yes, Laura, they have other restaurants on board too. Besides that, I did talk about those. They have one of the best buffets ever. The buffet is called Cabanas, and they always have shrimp. They have, really, the food is such high quality on Disney cruise ship. It's so good. The buffet is enormous. It's like half of the deck at the end of the cruise ship. It's so good. And so, yeah, it's amazing. So other differences about Disney cruises. So a lot of cruise lines charge you for a soda package, and Disney cruise soda is included. I say that because soda is free on the pool deck and on the buffet deck. So what we always did is we always bring like a mug, and then we take it up to the pool deck and we refill the mug, and then we take it down to the movies, because they also have, that's another reason why Disney Cruises is so valuable and so great, is because they show first run Disney movies. So we went on a cruise when Star Wars came out, and we got to see it on opening night on the ship. Like, how cool is that? So you can't do that on any other cruise line. When we say Disney movies, we're talking Marvel, we're talking Pixar, we're talking Walt Disney Animation Studios. Basically anything that Disney owns property-wise, they can play. And so now the Fox movies, they're going to own those too. So those can play in the theater as well. Also, shout out to one of our genies, Laura. She makes these amazing custom mugs. And she made this for me. And obviously we're Magic Land Vacation, so we have a genie, the genie on the back. And so I absolutely love it. And I just notified our giveaway winner for the Valentine's Day giveaway, and we're going to do another giveaway in March for one of Laura's custom tumblers. I'm so thirsty. I'm going to take a drink. So, yeah. Other differences for Disney Cruise Line. Let's see. We talked about the characters. We talked about fireworks at sea. Disney is the only one that has the fireworks at sea. Other cruise ships cheat a little bit sometimes. They'll try to pull up close to Disney cruise ship so that they can watch the fireworks at sea, but there's actually a whole show. So if you're on another cruise ship and you're watching Disney fireworks, you're only seeing half the fun, because there's a whole show that goes along with the fireworks. So fireworks, oh yeah, so kids clubs. A lot of other cruise lines charge for kids clubs. Disney does not charge for the kids clubs. They do charge for their nursery, which is children under 3 years old, so 2 and under, but they don't charge for the kids clubs. And the kids clubs are the best because Disney characters actually come to the kids clubs and they interact with the kids doing all sorts of different activities. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous that I'm not, you know, under 12, so I could go and interact with the characters and do fun activities in the kids clubs, but whatever. So that's another difference. Also, Disney has bigger staterooms in general than other cruise lines. So that's another differentiation factor. I will also say too that Disney cruises have split bathrooms. So what I mean by that is you have a shower and you have a tub shower and a sink in one, and then in the other one you're gonna have a toilet and a sink. So it's great for families that are getting ready, which is really neat. And then for deluxe ocean view verandas, if you have an adjoining stateroom and you have the outside balcony, you can actually open up the partition and make one big balcony for both rooms. So that's really, really cool as well. What other differences are there? I talked about service, but I'll say it one more time. The service is absolutely outstanding at Disney Cruise Line. Oh, also they have such a cool rewards program for cruisers, which a lot of people don't know about if you've never gone on a Disney cruise before, but they have what's called the Castaway Club member. And so basically what that means is after you go on your first Disney cruise, then you're silver status. Once you go on 5 cruises, then you become gold status. And then once you go on 10 cruises, you become platinum status. So the difference in those statuses are, 1, what your free gift is when you actually get on board the ship, and 2, how early out you can book your port adventures and adult dining and things of that nature. Which brings me a great point to talk about this weird myth and misconception that Disney cruises are only for people with families, which is so not the case. Disney cruises, in my opinion, are better than, and I'll have to admit, I am a little biased because I love Disney. However, what I have noticed, and I've heard other people who I meet on the cruise ship say the same thing, that when you go on a Disney cruise, the adult-only areas on a Disney cruise tend to be more quiet, more subdued, like more, I don't know, more adult is not the right term that I'm looking for, but more exclusive, because so many people go on Disney cruises with families that those adult-only areas become even more of like a reclusive area of the ship that like hardly anyone goes. So I love Disney cruise. I think it's actually a better experience in a lot of ways for people who, you know, couples that are just going for a honeymoon, or they're going for just for fun, anniversary, whatever have you. I think it's fantastic. So it is available at rotating restaurants for sure. Can you buy a mug, Leslie? Yes. If you message Laura Morrison, Travel Genie Laura, you can message her for a custom mug. Absolutely. And Laura, yes, we're talking about adult only, yes, right now. So a lot of people also don't realize that Disney cruises actually have, they have beer tasting, they have wine tasting, they have champagne tasting, they have mixology classes, they have this amazing spa called Sensu Spa and Salon. And last cruise actually did the full romantic retreat where you had, it's like a couples massage, but you have like, there's like a whirlpool tub on a veranda. They give you like strawberries and chocolates and special juice, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so much fun on a Disney cruise ship. So tons of things for adults to do and to enjoy. They have, depending on which cruise ship you are on, they all have some kind of champagne bar. On the Dream and the Fantasy, they have what's called Skyline, which is this amazing bar area that has skylines on television screens from around the world, which is really, really neat. On the Wonder, which we were on the Alaska cruise, they have what's called the Cadillac Lounge. They always have some kind of bar lounge area where they have singers and things like that. So that's really, really fun. The other thing that I forgot to mention about Disney cruises is that the onboard activities, in addition to Disney characters, they have family bingo, they have Disney trivia competitions, they have one that's called Mirror Mirror on the Wall, which is a competition with Dopey, and the cast of the Walt Disney Theater does interactive things with you. There's so much fun activities. One of the funnest things that we did on our Disney cruises is when you actually take a class on how to do towel folding, which is so much fun. And towel folding and also napkin folding, on how they do that. It's a really, really fun class to do. So for teenagers and for tweens, they have Edge and Vibe, which are two, I'm not gonna call them kids clubs because they're for teenagers, but they are basically a teenage version of a kids club where they have special activities for them as well. They actually have like a private pool for them. They have video game stations for them. There's like a coffee bar for them. It's amazing. In fact, if you go on a Disney cruise with your kids or your teenagers, do not be surprised if they just want to stay at the kids clubs for their ship. All right, so we talked about activities. Now let's talk about the private islands. So Castaway Cay, some people call it Castaway Cay, but Castaway Cay is Disney's private island. So if you are sailing in the Caribbean, you more than likely you're going to take a stop at Castaway Cay for at least one day. Some sailings actually have more than one day. And everything moves off the ship to Castaway Cay for the day. So if you have kids, the kids clubs are actually going to be on the island for that day. And it is such a fun place to be. You have more character interactions. They have what's called Cookies Barbecue. So it's basically this huge barbecue blowout for lunch that you can have. They have everything you can imagine barbecue-wise. They have a little island with water slides and stuff like that. You can go snorkeling. And when you go snorkeling, there's like hidden Mickeys and all sorts of stuff. And then they have other port adventures you can do also on the private island. So they have parasailing. We did a banana boat, which is like this thing that's like a banana where you ride it and they pull you on a boat really, really fast. They have jet skis. You can do bike riding. They have a 5K, which is a lot of people get up early to do the 5K and you get a medal for it. So a lot of people love that. So the private island is absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Again, they have a private adult-only area called Serenity Bay. And so you can go to that private area of the islands, and there's a bar over there. They have entertainment over there. You can get massages over there. They have cabanas for rental. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. Let's see. What else? Just want to go. All right. So let me show you some more fun things. So when you're planning your Disney cruise, you're going to get one of these cruise booklets. The cruise booklets are basically just making sure that you have like luggage tags and the things that you need for your departure. It also reaffirms all of your port adventures and what you're signing up to do. They stopped doing these for a while, and then they started doing them again. They were trying to save paper, I think, and going electronically. But these are so incredibly helpful to have. This is a navigator. So a navigator is basically telling you what activities are on your Disney Cruise Line ship. So everybody gets one of these. And so you're going to get one navigator that gives you a big rundown of everything that's happening for the week as far as shows and movies, tells you what all you can do on board. And then every day you're going to have a very specific itinerary that tells you everything that's going on and where it's happening. And this gives you the times of the stores and when all those things are open. And I will say that if have you never cruised before, one thing that might surprise you is that the stores are only going to be open when the ship is at sea. So when a ship is at port, the stores are not open at the time. So that's that. And, oh, you guys, I have to show this to you, and this is hands down one of the coolest things ever. So, a lot of people do not know about this. This is like a top secret thing, but on the end of your cruise, Disney hosts a special See You Real Soon at the end of their cruise where all the Disney characters and the people from Walt Disney Theater come back out, and you can get pictures and autographs one last time. Before that happens, there's a private meet and greet with Disney characters and cast members from Walt Disney Theater with random families who were invited to participate in the meet and greet. This is why it's so important, you guys, to have great character interactions. We've been invited to go twice, and it's hands down like one of my favorite things ever. But as you can see, this was outside our stateroom door. It didn't say anything. We opened it up, and it's an invitation for us to go to the Walt Disney Theater and experience a special meet and greet with all the characters, which is so amazing and so much fun. So that's really, really neat. So how do you book your port adventures? That's a great question, Sarah. So port adventures, you are going to book your port adventures online, and you're going to do that before you even leave on your cruise. And that's something that Travel Genie can help you with. You know, there's so many port adventures to choose from. It really does depend on what your family enjoys. If your family is really, really adventurous, maybe they want to do parasailing. If your family is not very adventurous, maybe they want to do a glass bottom boat tour. But the port adventures are going to be different based on what itinerary you're sailing on and how many nights and what the ports of call are. So the port adventures completely vary. So port adventures in Alaska look very different then port adventures, and the Caribbean. So when we've done the Caribbean cruises, we've done zip lining, we've done jet skiing, we did a speedboat, which I actually have a picture of that right here. This was in Cozumel. We did a speedboat, which was really, really fun. In Alaska, we did, like, there was a lumberjack show, which was a port adventure. We did a salmon bake. So the port adventures vary completely based on itinerary. You sign up that in advance. Some people don't do their port adventures. They don't decide on their port adventures so they get on the ship. That's fine. It just means that some of the more popular port adventures are going to be full, and you might not be able to do what maybe your first choice would be. But they have a port adventures desk when you're on board, and they are always there to help you decide what your port adventure is going to be. So back to the navigator. They also have a Disney Cruise Line app, which has an online navigator. I always prefer the hard copy so I can circle it and highlight it and do all that stuff while I'm on my cruise. Some people love the online version. I like that better. It's really just a matter of preference. They used to leave the hard copy version every night inside your stateroom, but now they don't leave it in your stateroom. Now you have to go to the customer service desk to actually get your port adventure, no, excuse me, not port adventure, your navigator for the cruise ship. For those of you who are wondering, like, where all Disney cruise ships go, they go all over the world. So, and in the summer, that's when the Magic goes to Europe and does the European dates. Is going to be in the summer, and the Wonder goes to Alaska and does dates in Alaska. You have the Dream and the Fantasy, which they basically camp out all year long in the Caribbean. So they basically do, the Dream does 3 and 4 day Bahamas cruises, and then the Fantasy does 7 day. They do a couple of short ones too, but mostly 7 day Eastern and Western Caribbean cruises. So really, it's the Wonder and the Magic that actually move around, which is when they have the transatlantic cruises, because the transatlantic cruises are what we call the repositioning cruises. So those happen, you know, before the summer and the spring, and then they happen again in the fall before the winter. And so all the cruise ships basically converge in the Caribbean or in Baja cruises in California when it starts to get colder. But they're all over the place. And now you can actually combine these with Adventures by Disney. So Adventures by Disney is, if you guys have not heard of that or don't know what that is, it's basically Disney's version of group tours. And those are all around the world. But now they started incorporating them with Disney cruises for port adventures. So basically, you can just add on Adventures by Disney for your cruise, and then all of your port adventures are taken care of for the entire duration of your cruise. So you don't even have to worry about booking port adventures. The advantage of that is that you get additional perks that other people don't get by doing Adventures by Disney. It's a higher price point. And then you get basically a guide who is a local guide to that area. And then you also have what's called a storyteller. So they're the ones that educate you and share the knowledge of that port or that adventure with you, but they tell it in the version of a story. So it's really, really neat. Let's see, have more things. Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining on Instagram. All right. Does anybody else have any more questions? Let's see. We've talked about the differences in a Disney cruise. We've talked about port adventures. We talked about kids clubs and what you can do there. We've talked about the entertainment. There's also scavenger hunts you can do on the Dream and the Fantasy that are a whole lot of fun. Interactive pictures that move and things of that nature. And what else can I think about that sets Disney Cruise Line apart? Talked about Very Maritime. I talked about Halloween on the High Seas. Let's talk about how far in advance you should book. So Disney cruises, a lot of people book them at least a year in advance. I think one reason why a lot of people book it in advance is because they have a very specific stateroom category that they want to get. And there's like 12 different stateroom categories depending upon, it's not just what's in the room. So like you have your inside stateroom, which means there's no window, which by the way, on the Dream and Fantasy, I love the inside staterooms because they have a magical portal which is basically a fake window where they have a live feed of the sea and they put it on the fake portal, and then Disney characters appear and go through the portal. So that's really, really neat. But they have inside staterooms. They have deluxe family ocean staterooms, which they either have 2 smaller portals or 1 big portal, no veranda. And then they have deluxe ocean view staterooms with verandas, which are balconies on the outside. But within those categories, there's a whole lot more categories. So when it comes to booking a Disney cruise, a lot of people book in advance just because they want to pick their stateroom category. However, just because you book early, where am I going with that? Yeah, a lot of people book early because they know what stateroom category they want. However, if you're a Florida resident, sometimes you can get some great last minute deals, but you don't really get to pick your stateroom. It's what's called a guaranteed stateroom category. They're non-refundable. You have to pay in full. They are a reduced rate, which is fantastic. But again, you don't get to pick where your stateroom is. So they basically assign you a stateroom that hasn't been purchased yet for a reduced rate. But again, it's non-refundable. You pay in full. You have to provide proof of Florida residency. And Sarah, yes, thank you, Sarah. So land and sea packages. So a land and sea vacation is when you combine a Disney cruise with a Walt Disney World vacation. Port Canaveral is about an hour from Walt Disney World Resort. So most people, when they're planning a land and sea vacation package, and I totally agree with this, you're actually gonna do the Disney World portion first, and then the cruise portion second. You can do it both ways. But with Disney World, everybody knows that you are going to be walking 20 to 30,000 steps a day. And it's a lot of, walking around the parks, doing rides. It can be a little hectic and that kind of a thing. And a Disney cruise is much more of a laid back, relaxed type vacation. So most people do the land portion first, then they do the sea portion. And then you can do a ground transfer. So Disney does have transportation that you can pay for to go from your Disney Resort Hotel at Walt Disney World to the Disney Cruise Line, and then from Disney Cruise Line back to the Orlando International Airport, MCO. So you can absolutely do that. Yes, I did touch on this earlier, but there are adjoining rooms for larger families. I will say that there are the higher categories. Most of those rooms do allow for 5 guests. However, the way Disney Cruise Line works their occupancy is it's based on how many people have reserved a spot on the ship. So even if that stateroom category technically can hold 5 people, Disney will only let you have 5 people in that stateroom if the ship occupancy will allow it. So if the ship is getting really, really full, even though it holds 5 people in that stateroom, they will not let you have 5 people in there because they want to make sure they have enough room on the lifeboats and life vests and all of those things. So yes, they do have adjoining rooms for larger families. And I will also say that Disney Cruise Line has the highest rating in terms of safety and health inspections and all those things. Like right now, I know with the coronavirus, I don't even know if I said that right, but I know that Disney Cruise Line has implemented very strategic policies in place for cruising. So you won't even be allowed to board the cruise ship if you've been to Asia, Macau, and someplace else too. You can't even board the cruise ship if you've been there within the last 14 days. So they won't even let you board the cruise ship. So they're very particular about that as well. They have a very high standard for that. Adult-only dining is amazing. Palo Brunch is absolutely the best. It's this full-fledged buffet of, if you love bread and Italian food, so much bread, so much Italian food, so delicious, totally worth it. Remy is basically their version of, I guess you could say, Victoria and Albert's at the Grand Floridian on the Disney cruise ship. For me, it was a little hoity-toity because they bring out like the silver platters and there's like a big reveal and the serving sizes are small. But if you really like that, you would absolutely love it. I love the Palo Brunch instead. That's my personal favorite. Any more questions that we have? Okay, I think I talked about almost everything. So if you are thinking about going on a Disney cruise, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how to work with a travel agent and the problems that they solve. So first of all, they're going to be able to provide you with different itineraries depending upon where you want to go and visit and what time of the year. Similar to going to Walt Disney World, prices change based on what time of the year. So if you are sailing in the summer, or if you're sailing during Christmas break or the holidays, you're going to pay almost twice as much than if you were to sail in September during the technical hurricane season, which I should talk about that too. But you're going to choose when your sail date is and what itinerary you want to go on, and some itineraries are only available at certain times of the year. So if you are wanting to sail in Europe, that itinerary is going to have to be in May, June, July, or August. It's not going to be in December. The cruise ships don't go there. Now, when Disney adds the new cruise ships that are coming, so the Wish is coming in 2022. It should be finished in 2021. You can expect to see that the ships are going to be adding new itineraries as the fleet grows, because they're going to add 3 more cruise ships. There will be additional sailings and then go to different parts. I would expect to see more cruising in Hawaii. You know, this year they started sailing to out of Port Orleans, New Orleans. So as they add more to their fleet, they're going to expand their itineraries and where they go. If you want to go to Alaska, that's going to be in the summer months as well. So decide on when you want to go, what itinerary it is. Depending upon what your itinerary is, that might actually dictate when you have to go on your cruise. And once you decide that, it's really a matter of what your stateroom category is going to be. If you want to have the veranda or not have the veranda for your stateroom category. And then you book it. So it's a little bit simpler than Disney World in some regards. Where it becomes a little bit more technical is the port of entries. Deciding on what your port of entries are going to be. Also, if you've never been on a Disney cruise before, this is super, super important. When it comes to meeting your characters, they have a couple of ticketed character events. They're free, but you have to have a ticket. So if you've never gone on a Disney cruise before, and that's one thing that your travel agent can do, is they can help you make sure you get tickets for the character events that if you don't have a ticket, you're not going to be able to go to. So they have a Frozen Gathering, which is Anna and Elsa that you need a ticket for. They have a Princess Gathering, which is not always the same, but usually it's Belle, Ariel, Rapunzel, and Tiana, or sometimes it's Cinderella instead. But those are ticketed, so you want to get a ticket for that when you can register for your port adventures. And they also have, this other thing that's really cool is if you wanted to do a character breakfast, those are included in the price of your cruise ship, but again, you have to have a ticket for that. So a lot of people think that that's extra. It's not. It's included in the price of your cruise. The only thing that costs more money on a Disney cruise is if you do the Princess Tea. But the reason why that costs more money is because you get all these goodies along with your the tea experience. So you get like an autograph book, you get like a tiara. I have to double check and see if it's changed for 2020, but you get things in addition to just meeting the characters, which is why there's an upcharge. There is a Bippity Boppity Boutique on the cruise ships as well. So your princess can get a princess makeover on their Disney cruise, so that's always fun. Your family can get their family portraits on the cruise. A lot of people get their family portraits on the cruise for formal night, things of that nature. And yeah, so decide on your itinerary. Decide on when you're going to go, which might be dictated by your itinerary. Then you're going to decide on your port adventures and your onboard activities, so spa, dining, character tickets, those kinds of things. And then it's time for your Disney cruise. So I think I covered like the most of the stuff at Disney cruise. I didn't really talk about, you know, your first day and boarding and all that stuff, but this has already been going on for 45 minutes. So let's see. Any other questions that you guys have? Hi, Layla. Layla, is that your name? Hi, Layla from Instagram. I think that's it. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to put in the comment section the video that we just posted on YouTube about interacting with Disney characters. Super, super fun. I hope you all enjoyed this. And tomorrow night If you have any questions about planning a Universal Orlando vacation, that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night. For all of you Wizarding World fans out there, we will be talking all about that. So have a great night, everybody.